Alright guys, so yesterday I updated you guys on the PvP arena tier list for the end of October, including BTS cookie as well as brew cookie after the BTS collaboration. And in this video, I'm going to be updating you guys on the PVE tier list, which is going to include the story mode. And in this tier list, I'm going to be telling you guys exactly 100% what you guys should definitely build right now, as well as some of the SS tier, S tier, and so on. And also for the second part of this video, I'm going to be telling you guys some of the teams that I do recommend you guys to build for a certain story mode. So here we go guys, let's get right into it. And of course, just keep in mind that this is not 100% answer, but it is going to be based on my experience as well as my opinion. So let's get right into it. Let's go with the 100% recommended cookies to build for story mode. And here we go. It's going to be starting off with the Ancients and Legendary, and that's going to include Black Pearl, Sea Fairy, Dark Cacao, Pure Vanilla, and then including BTS, Cotton, Wildberry, Brute, Captain Caviar, Vampire with Magic Candy, Eclair, as well as Espresso with Magic Candy. So these guys are going to be 100% recommended to build. They are going to be used and can be used for all of the story mode from episode 1 all the way to episode 14, including story, dark mode, as well as master mode. These cookies are going to be very useful. Alright, starting off with some of the damage dealers real quick are going to be Black Pearl, Sea Fairy, as well as our Captain Caviar, Vampire, Eclair, and Espresso. These guys are going to be excelling in either stunning the enemies or able to dodge as well as deal consistent nuke damage, which is going to include area damage, as well as something like Vampire as well as Captain Caviar are going to be able to deal some very good single hit damage to deal with something like the bosses that are going to be kind of difficult to deal with, which includes something like 10-31 and 12-30. Alright, and then some of the tanks that are going to be really good right now are going to include Dark Cacao, who is also a very offensive tank. Alright, able to deal a ton of damage, has a basic AoE cleave damage, as well as is able to deal some great debuffs to the enemies. So I definitely recommend you guys to build Dark Cacao for story mode. Wildberry is also a very good tank. More of a defensive tank compared to Dark Cacao, but still going to be able to deal a ton of extra damage and give 15% extra damage resist boost to your team. And on top of that, Brute, who is going to be our newly released epic, is able to give an offensive buff, which is going to be 15% of attack buff to your entire team, as well as is able to stun the enemies with the skill as well as auto attack by 50%. Alright, and then of course something like the healers include Cotton, Pure Vanilla, as well as BTS. BTS is really good right now because once again, Safeguard does not take any damage. On top of that, it's able to give stun immunity, debuff resist, as well as if there's a lot of debuffs including injury, you're able to get shield as well as damage resist to your entire team, as well as Pure Vanilla, who is going to be a great healer who is able to do burst heal including shield, as well as Content, who is going to be a very all-around best support that is going to be used greatly within the story mode. Alright, it is also able to use the sheep to tank for some of the injury stacks, so I definitely recommend you build Content. Alright, so those are going to be the 100% recommended cookies that I definitely recommend you guys to level up if you guys have them. And then moving on to the SS tier are going to be something like Cream Unicorn, Caramel Arrow, Clotted Cream, Oyster, Squid Ink with Magic Candy, Crunchy Chip, Dark Cacao, Pumpkin Pie, Parfait, Pomegranate, Purple Yam with Magic Candy, Sorbet, Financier, Herb, as well as Rye with Magic Candy. So these cookies are going to be great replacement for any of the cookies that are in the 100% recommended. They are able to excel in what they are supposed to do. For example, Cream Unicorn is able to heal. A bit lacking because of the fact that it is going to be based on the HP missing, but is able to give like 15% damage resist to your team, who is able to get healed by the auto heal, as well as someone like Herb, who is able to purify, Perfect, Pomegranate, great support. And then for the tanks, Dark Choco able to have that 20% defense reduction, Crunchy Chip, slow, attack slow, as well as Purple Yam, very good self-sustain. Financier, also a very good self-sustain, as well as being able to heal and protect your DPS. And then all the other supports as well as DPSs are going to be very good cookies to use throughout the entire story mode. Rye and Sorbet are going to be something like a replacement for someone like Vampire's Magic Candy, as well as someone like Caramel Arrow, Clotted Cream, Squid Ink, and someone like Pumpkin Pie are going to be very good situational cookies here and there as well. Alright, and then moving on to the S tier are going to be Milk Cookie with the Magic Candy, Hollerberry, Affogato, Candy Diver, Cherry Blossom, as well as Tiger Lily. So you guys might be wondering why I put Hollerberry as well as someone like Milk Cookie with the Magic Candy at S tier. They're still very good tanks compared to the other ones that are available to you guys. And also, Hollerberry, especially if you guys do pull her in the beginning, she definitely can be used, but of course is going to be lackluster compared to someone like Walberry as well as Brute. So she still is a very good tank, so she does at least deserve that S tier, but is not going to be someone like 100% recommended, which is called quote-unquote meta, as well as SS tier compared to someone like Purple Yam, as well as Crunchy Chip and Dark Choco, who is going to be very useful for a lot of the different stages. All right, and then Milk Cookie is able to have a pretty good self-sustain as well with the taunt, as well as able to self-heal and able to deal damage based on HP, but it is not going to be as recommended as someone like Purple Yam because of the fact that there is that taunt. It's just not as strong as something like Purple Yam's spin. All right, and then Affogato, very, very strong debuffer inside of the game, able to deal with a lot of the bosses, as well as something like 14-10 in the Yeti mode, where it prevents the Yeti from going in rage and is able to deal with a lot of tricky single enemies. So definitely Affogato is going to be recommended, and I would say is definitely a must build if you guys do want to focus on the dragon as well. And the Candy Diver, Cherry Blossom, as well as Tiger Lily are very situational, but they still can be very, very good and deserves that S rank inside of the story mode. And then moving on to the A+ tier are going to be Cocoa, Frost Queen, Cream Puff, Mint Choco, Poison Mushroom, Sparkling, Strawberry Crepe, Red Velvet, Licorice, as well as Almond. So these cookies are going to be very situational, as well as they can be a pretty decent replacement for any of the 100% recommended as well as SS tier, but they are going to have their downside. For someone like Coco is able to only have that stun immunity and is able to only heal majority of the time. Frost Queen not able to deal with the bosses, but still is able to deal with a lot of the mob stages. However, you got to realize that Frost Queen can't be used for episode 13 and 14. Cream Puff, okay, heal and burst, but definitely does require that crit. Mint Choco and so on, they're just very situational now and more of a replacement than the main cookies that are going to be used inside of the team. And then moving on to the A tier are going to be Latte, Black Raisin, Kumio, Mollasauce, Mango, Moon Rabbit, as well as Twizzly. They are majority of the decent tanks as well as damage dealers that you can also use, but are going to get overshadowed by a lot of the different cookies inside of the game just because of the placing that they have for their skills. All right, and then moving on to B tier are going to be Pastry, Madeline, Lilac, Tea Night, Snow Sugar, as well as Raspberry. They are just average. All right, they can be used, but probably not recommended. Tea Night, the reason why he's in here is because of the fact that he does require cookies to die, which is not the best thing to happen, especially if you guys want a 3-star stage. So he's not able to fully put out his potential that he has. So I definitely recommend you guys to stay away from Tea Night if possible. And a Raspberry, just very decent tank, but also is able to not really do much as well. And Madeline, Snow Sugar, Lilac, and Pastry just not as good as the others. All right, and then moving on to C tier are going to be usable cookies, and they're going to include something like Sonic Tail. Okay, they are usable but not very great, not recommended at all. Werewolf, probably the worst tank out of all of the other cookies right now, as well as Chili Pepper, who is going to be just very average. And then the last tier, just like always, is going to be the don't use. I don't recommend you guys to ever use Fig inside of the game as right now. Probably one of the worst epics, if not the worst epic that you guys can use inside of your team. I know people still try to use them, but still, just don't waste your resources, especially your precious support powders, when there are just so many better ones. Now, moving on to the second part of this video, I just want to quickly tell you guys one of the best setups that you guys could probably use right now inside of the story mode. It's including for episode 14 especially. It's going to be something like Dark Cacao, Walberry / Brute, all right, as the double tank, as well as Eclair in the middle, or you can use something like Captain Caviar. And then I would recommend you guys to have someone like Cotton as well as BTS or Cotton Pure Vanilla. If you guys are in episode 14, I recommend you guys Cotton BTS, but Cotton Pure Vanilla, BTS Pure Vanilla are going to work as well. So that's kind of like the best thing. And then of course, you know, as you guys move on throughout the story, you guys can switch it, but that's for episode 14. And then for the rest of them, I do normally recommend you guys to at least go with the 2-1-2, which is going to be 2 tank, 1 damage dealer, which is majority of the time going to be an AoE damage dealer. Someone like Espresso, Captain Caviar, Eclair, Seaferry, and you know, for right now, who is going to be Black Pearl, as well as 2 supports or 2 support slash healer, which is going to include someone like Content slash BTS, Content slash Pure Vanilla slash BTS, and something like that. And then of course, when it comes to boss stages, I recommend you guys to use something like the Slingshot, which is going to allow you to deal a lot more damage, and then plus something like Captain Caviar, Eclair, and Vampire. All right, so that's kind of like the you know, very quick, all right, team setup tips that I want you guys to keep in mind when you guys are playing this game. But just keep in mind, guys, the success in story mode is going to really depend on your team building, and you do need to have a tank, DPS, as well as a healer to beat majority of these stages. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys found the video helpful. Let me know what you guys would change down in the comments below. If you guys would change anything, let me know what you guys would like to see next, if you guys have any requests, and I'll see you guys all on the next one.